here's the thing. I gotta really tell y'all about this game today. This game was really fun. And if you really like two-player games like I do, you're gonna very much enjoy this game. Today we're talking about Stones and Rivers by Blue Heron Entertainment, designed by Trevor Harron. Let me tell you, the thing I really like about this game is that it has two different aspects to it, of where you have to put a lot of thought in what your next move is going to be, what your opponent's next move could be. Then on the other side of that, you got to also be a little bit mean in order to make sure that your opponent doesn't win, because that's just the nature of the game. Is it a full-on mean game? No, absolutely not. It is where you do have to think about your next move and what you're going to do. As well, how can your opponent counteract with your move? Now, I could sit here all day and tell you how I feel about it. That's not the point of this video. This video is I'm going to teach you how to set up the game and how to play it. In this two-player game, players are strategically battling each other to place 5 of their pieces into the scoring area before their opponent. It is a very strategic game of two players battling it out, trying to disrupt the other player's plans, and constantly adjusting your own plan for victory throughout the game. Now, when you get a copy of the game, it comes with 4 total components: the bag, the cloth board, the circular pieces, and the square pieces. Now, in the anatomy of the game, there are 2 sides to the square and circular pieces. There's the stone side and the river side. Remember this for later in the video. Now we have discussed the components and the anatomy of the components, so let's talk about the setup of the game. First, lay out the 13 by 14 grid cloth board, preferably in the center of the playing area. Next, you're going to decide on which player wants to be the square player and which player wants to be the circle player. After that, adjust the board properly where your shape is facing opposite of you. If you're the circle player, then the circles need to be opposite of you. And the same thing goes for the square player. Next, you're going to lay out all of your 14 pieces in front of you, just above your opponent's scoring area. Preferably, you would set these up into 2 rows, 7 across each. And then lastly, you're going to decide who's going to be the first player. You can decide however that you want to, but a suggested idea would be for you to flip these stone and river pieces. Flip it in the air like a coin and have the opposing player call what it's going to land on. If the player guessed correctly, then they get to go first. If not, then you get to go first. And now you are ready to play a game of Stones and Rivers. Now let's talk about how we play the game. On each player's turn, you have the choice of doing one of the following actions: move a piece, push a piece, flip a piece and rotate, or rotate a river. Now, we're going to break these down individually, but just remember, you can only do one per turn. Now we're going to take some time and we're going to talk about move a piece action. If you decide to move a piece on your turn, then you make it move in one direction, whichever one that you would like. You can move it forward, backwards, to the left, to the right, but you cannot jump to adjacent spots that are across or anything of that nature. You can only do what was previously mentioned. Now, there are some more rules when it comes to moving. Besides the directions that I just told you about, players cannot move onto their opponent's scoring area blocks. As well, players can only move onto empty spots. So 2 pieces cannot share the same spot. Now, occasionally when you're going to move, you're going to run into river pieces. And so that's going to lead me into my next topic, and that is river movements. If you land on an area where there's a river, whether that is your piece or the opponent's piece, you are going to move along the line in that direction of the river. If it's your turn and you move a piece onto a river, then you get to decide on how many spaces that piece should move down. If you want to go the whole length of the board, you can. If you want to go in a certain direction or play it safe, you can. As well, whatever direction you want to go, that is your decision. And the same thing can be said when it's your opponent's turn. They can make that decision themselves. There's another thing that I need to let you know, and let's say, for example, you move onto a river piece. You're moving down the board, and then there's another river piece, but it's facing a different direction. Well, then you're going to start going onto that second river. You have the decision if you want to, but you can go and start moving in the direction of that second river. You cannot go past it, but you can move along with it if you want to. And that's everything you need to know about movements in the game. Now we're going to talk about pushing a piece. So let's say you're moving your pieces along, and there happens to be another piece just right in the spot where you want to go. Well, you can push that piece to another empty space that is about a space away. Now, as long as the space is empty that you're moving it to, it's fine. Again, you cannot push a piece onto an already occupied space. Now, that's what you generally do if pieces are on their stone side. But you can also push with a river piece. When you move a river piece onto another piece, you can choose however many spaces you want that piece to go. As long as it's in the direction of the river, you get to make that decision. One of the most important things to remember is when you are pushing with a river piece, once that action is complete, you flip the river piece back over to its stone side. It is also worth noting that you can push an opponent's piece into and through your score area, if need be. The final rule that I have to mention is that whenever it comes to pushing pieces, you cannot push a piece to make the board look as it did the previous turn. So you can't have any back and forth whenever it comes to pushing pieces. And those are all the rules when it comes to pushing a piece. Now we get to talk about flipping pieces and rotating them. On your turn, you can flip any piece to its opposing side, but it will take up your action for the turn. Now you do only get to flip one piece. If you flip a stone piece to the river side, then you get to choose whatever direction that you want to for the river to flow. You can choose for it to flow vertically or horizontally. You cannot place river pieces to be sideways or facing in a weird, awkward direction. As for the stone side, it really doesn't matter. And the final action that you're able to choose is rotate a river. When you choose to do this action, you can rotate a river piece 90 degrees. Going from vertical to horizontal or horizontal to vertical. And the same rule applies. You can't place any river pieces to be facing sideways or in an awkward direction. Now, I do want to say this about the score area. Even if you get some pieces into your score area, they are not locked and they are still in play. So they can be moved, flipped, rotated, and pushed. So that's what makes the game more competitive. And the first player to place 5 pieces into their scoring area on the stone side is the winner of the game. And that's everything you got to know about stones and rivers. Thank you to the wonderful team for sending me a copy of this. As well, I had fun learning how to play this. Be sure to look out for the Kickstarter for this game that's happening here in the month of July 2025. With that being said, I'm Drew. This is Welcome to Boredom, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video.